Hello, Barry. It's Heather Hansen with Community Chat, and I'm here with Trent and Wine Journeys. So, Trent, I know that some of your weekends are really busy with your used to be tours, now it's Zoom. So, tell us how you're doing business. Well,
Okay.
from home now, I guess.
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you for inviting me. But yeah, it's a little different now. We Our wine journeys used to be in person, and that was the way we did things. And then along came COVID, and we had to shift pretty quickly to figure out how to make things operate. So, talking to the chef that I work with at Battery Trattoria, Chef Will, we decided, well, let's try to do this in a virtual platform. So I set up a Zoom account, and we started doing takeout dinners with wine, and have people take it to their own home and then link up on Zoom. It's not the best situation. I still love the in-person interaction,
Yeah.
but in the COVID world, it works, and it still allows us to interact and give people that experience and help them learn a little bit about the wine without being in an onerous situation of sitting in a classroom. It's much more fun to learn about wine when you're sitting having dinner and talking about it than sitting in front of a chalkboard or a slideshow and having someone write an exam at the end.
That's right. And also, I guess ultimately they can order the food with the recommended wines, and then that's what you're talking about is the wine that you recommended for that meal that's being prepared.
That's exactly it. The way we run our dinners is the chefs come up with, whoever I'm working with comes up with a menu, usually 3 courses. Maybe for a special occasion, we'll do 4. And then I'll pair up a wine with each course, and I'll give people a choice of whether they want. Some people just want one bottle of wine for the evening, so I'll recommend, okay, if you want one bottle, this one will work the best for you for the whole evening. But if you want the full experience, and sometimes you've got 3 or 4 people in the house, then they'll order sometimes 2 or 3 different bottles, and just go through pairing with each course, so they can really experience kind of the best wine for that particular course being served. So, and that includes dessert. We always try and find a good sweet wine to pour with dessert, because it's something people don't try very often, and it's a great experience if you get the right wine.
Right. So uh, I'm not a big wine drinker. So for me to hear that you can actually experience wine with each course is unbelievable for me. I didn't ever realize that you could have those tastes, and I guess you'd have to make sure that from one to another that would have some sort of a sequence. Or do you do that you know
Sorry, I missed that. Heather, you froze up.
Oh, sorry about that. So I was just asking, if you're transitioning from one wine to another,
Uh-huh.
do you then need a palate cleanse? Or is it that the wines complement each other as the meal what does?
You don't need a palate cleanse as much when you're eating, because really the food serves to cleanse your palate for you. So you don't have to worry as much for eating. If you're drinking wine alone and trying 2 or 3 separate wines just just with the wine, yeah, you do need something. You need a sip of water. People think about crackers and things. You really don't need water. Water works the best. You have a sip of water and it cleanses your palate, gets you ready for the next one. But that, like I say, if you're having food, the food serves as the palate cleanser for you, so you can just move from one to the next. And you can look at pairings 2 different ways. It's either complementary, it complements the food. An example, the Cabernet Sauvignon is a very big flavored wine, lots of black fruit flavors, lots of tannins, lots of acidity. With a big wine like that, you need big flavors in your food as well. So something like a steak or a grilled portobello mushroom, something that has lots and lots of flavor.
I'd
That
go for that.
that's a complementary pairing. You can go with the contrasting pairings too, where the wine is actually designed to refresh your palate for the next bite. So if you have something creamy like fettuccine alfredo, you can have a crisp white wine like Verdicchio from Italy, and it will that when you take a sip of it, it cleanses that richness from your palate. So the next bite tastes better because your palate isn't coated with that rich cream and cheese from the fettuccine. So there's all kinds of ways of making food and wine better. And that's part of the joy of doing it. They make each other better.
Well, it almost sounds like I need to learn how to do this so that I can actually enjoy it. I've always was raised with, you know, the just the one wine in the house, and everybody drank the same thing, and it just wasn't an enjoyable treat for me. But you're making it sound much more elegant, much more sophisticated, and much more excited.
And it's fun. Like I said, it's fun to experience those flavor experiences. Like I don't do these kind of things every night myself either, but when you have the opportunity, it's one of the greatest joys in life to hit that nice experience with that nice wine, that nice food. People tell me all the time at my dinners, they'll try the wine and it might be say a Bordeaux from France that's kind of a little bit tannic and a little bit high in the acidity, and they'll take a sip of it and say, "Oh, I don't know if I like this wine." I said, "Wait a second, try it with the food now." And they try it. "Oh, the wine's really good now." That's the magic. That's the magic happening. It's some wines aren't designed to sit and sit. They're just not. They're not. That's not what they're built for. They're built to have with your dinner, and they're much more enjoyable that way.
Sounds like an experience I'll have to absolutely try. It's very outside my box, but every time I talk to you, I can't stop thinking about how much more I'd probably enjoy my food if I were to have the right experience with the wine rather than just that, simple plague of just this wine goes with everything. No, it doesn't.
No, it really when you get into it, and you can go from varying levels to just plain enjoying wine food. To me, fanatical like me, where you really every bottle of wine you pick out, you go, oh, what am I going to have this with? Because the brain's already turning for the recipe. What? But if I buy this, what am I going to have it with? Because you always have to think about that's the secret of pairing. You have to focus on that. What are you going to pair with? And it may even focus down to one item on your plate, because you can't have a wine that would pair with perfectly with everything. If you have some salad and you have a steak, well, the Cabernet Sauvignon is not going to be very good with the salad, but it is going to be excellent with steak. So you're going to focus on that great pairing with the steak.
Oh, cool. So, obviously, this is a passion for you. It's also something I know you and I have talked in the past, and you're actually educated in a science of this. So, not everyone knows about that. Share a little bit about who you are and what your experience is that brought you to this wine journey.
It's a long wine journey, which is why I have so much crazy facts packed into my head about wine. I've been a wine fanatic for 40 years or more now. And it was my private passion for years and years and years, because I worked in the pharmaceutical industry. I'm a trained scientist. I have a Master of Science degree in microbiology. But wine was always my private passion. And attended tastings and took courses just for me. And then when I left pharmaceuticals, I thought, you know what, I'm going to follow the passion and trying to help other people understand wine better, because I think if you understand it, you'll enjoy it more. And like I say, it takes that apprehension of buying wine. I think everyone has. So my wine training is pretty specific as well. I'm trained by the Wine and Spirits Education Trust, which is based in London, England. They offer courses at places in Toronto where I took the course, and I'm trained up to the advanced level. And it's pretty tough training. I remember sitting the exam. It was half an hour of blind tasting, followed by an hour of multiple choice questions, followed by an hour of essay questions. And yeah, they had a 65% failure rate,
Oh
which
my goodness.
terrified me going into it. But I finished with distinction at the top of the class, so I was pretty happy. I was really grateful, because when you know going in how tough it's going to be, you're going to go, oh, I love this, but can I do it? But apparently you can. If you really love it, you can do it. And now I can, once again, it's all that extra bit of knowledge stuffed into my head to share with people, make their wine journey better.
Well, and it's an experience from what I hear. I know lots of people who have been on your journeys before COVID, during COVID, and I admittedly it's on my bucket list for sure, because I want to make sure that I honor all of the hard work that you've done by making sure that it's going to be the experience that I know you can teach me. But I think it's really cool that you turned your hobby into your business. And what type of challenges were there in that?
There's a lot of challenges because, like any entrepreneurial journey, you never really know what you're in for when you start setting up your business. And of course, setting up a business like this, it's a pretty new idea for this area, and people just don't understand what you do. And so I've spent a lot of time talking to people, just saying what I do is wine and wine knowledge, but it's fun. Like I say, it's not that stuffy, sort of arrogant, sort of wine snob thing. It's fun. You'll walk away with some really practical things and some wines you might enjoy. So, like I say, it's that's the one thing I want to emphasize when people start an entrepreneurial journey. Try and make sure that people know that what you try to explain to them what you do, and that's probably the biggest challenge. But other than that, there's all the rigmarole other stuff. You have to do bookkeeping and all that other nasty stuff. But
Yeah.
the wine stuff's the fun stuff. So.
The fun stuff. The business end of it is the business end. It doesn't matter what business you're in, you have to do that part. But but that's why we have networks of people that we like to work with, so that we can have help with the things that we need help on, and just really become spectacular in what we do. So what is the most odd request you've had from a client?
I'd have to say it wasn't a request, actually. It came to me as a question at an event I was speaking at. And someone asked me, how do they infuse the flavors into the wine? And I was kind of curious. I didn't really understand. I said, well, I don't understand. What do you mean infuse the flavors into the wine? They said, well, you've talked about certain wines have like coffee flavor or lemon or grapefruit or green apple. How do they get those fruits, and how do they infuse those fruit flavors into the wine? And I'm there, oh, now I get it. And I had to go through the explanation of, even though it has all those flavors are inherent in the grape, and are changed somewhat during the fermentation process to give you those flavors, even though those fruits are not present in the wine. So that was an unusual question. And like I say, I was kind of at first just kind of, what do you mean infused? I thought he was talking about there are some fruit wines like cassis and things that are infusions. But that he was just wondering how those fruit flavors ended up in the wine. He thought it was sort of a practical way of putting them in. I had explained it's not as simple as just sticking fruit in. It's actually the whole process of grape growing and fermentation and aging it in the bottle that develops all those wonderful flavors.
It's not the needle in the cork putting some
No, it's not.
flavor in there.
Someone shooting in some blackberry juice at the end of fermentation, thinking now it'll taste like blackberries.
So let's just make it clear, it is not that.
No, it's not that. If only it was that simple, I think winemaking would be a lot more mechanical than it is. It's way too much of an art.
It really is. I believe in that. Yeah, I mean, you see when you drive down to Niagara, just the rows and rows and rows of vines, and you just think, like, how does everybody control this? And it's because they specialize, really.
Well, it is, and people forget. Winemaking is essentially farming, and people forget that. Like I've walked in the vineyards with people that own them at places like 13th Street and at Cave Springs, and I walk through the vineyards with them, and they tell me the primary thing people forget is it's farming. And that's why there's variability, and some years are better than others. It's like any other crop. Some years your corn crop's better than others. Well, some years your grape crop's better than others. Their job is to make it as good as it can be, because there's no way you can take bad grapes and make great wine. So it has to start in the vineyard. You have to have absolutely great quality grapes, and then the winemaker takes over and makes sure it finishes off into great quality wine.
That's really cool. What are your goals for the next year, Trent? What would you like to see happen by the end of the year?
I'd love everyone to get vaccinated and have COVID go away, but that would be a nice thing. That we'll see if that happens or not. Um, my goal is mainly growth right now. Like I've got the establishment of my business, and I've got a core group of people that know what I do and that follow me. It's expanding and exposure to more people, so more people can experience that joy of wine and food that I've experienced over 40 years. So it's a matter of probably work with more restaurants, work with more private dinners, work with um, events. I do charity events as well. I've done work for some of the Rotary clubs for fundraisers here in Barrie. It's just a matter of getting the word out and doing more and expanding the business is the plan. So like any entrepreneur, cross your fingers and hope that happens.
That's right. Well, I think that it was brilliant that you came up with this idea to partner with restaurants and be able to do it online virtually. I mean, you could have just said, "Oh, COVID, I can't meet people." But you didn't. You knew you had a service for people, and you knew that you had a great product, and you knew that you needed to move into the next stages of however that was going to look. And so congratulations for making it through to this side.
Thank you. I've got one of my Siamese cats here who wants to join in. Yeah, it was one of those decisions you have to make as an entrepreneur, I guess, and all of us make those kind of decisions. Do you just curl up and think I'll wait till it is over, or do you figure out how can I innovate and make this work in this situation? And Chef William and I actually partnered up with Eleanor Daff from Vision Travel Team. We started offering a series of dinners that take you to different places. So we've done a bunch of regions in Italy where Chef has done the food from Italy. I've chosen wine from the region, and Eleanor does a travel and takes you there and shows you the region, talks about the region. And like I say, things like that have made it even better. Like I said, that collaboration I think is made things even better for us. And the really neat thing that came out of the collaboration is we were nominated for the Mayor's Innovation Awards, and we're finalists for the Innovative Collaboration. So we're waiting to hear in April. Keep your fingers crossed on that too.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
Waiting to hear if
I think you definitely will, I don't see why you wouldn't win. I think it was really inventive and innovative for you to be able to think outside the box to this degree and just take it to a whole different level. And I think one of the great things that would come out of this is that not only will you be able to physically service Barrie when we're allowed to touch people again, but you then have also opened the door to be able to do the same type of thing that you did during COVID, after COVID or post COVID, whatever that looks like, but to other places. So you could have somebody from Barrie who's traveling, like you said, and they could be somewhere else and they could set this up with you and say, hey, we're ordering this from this restaurant. And so you're opening doors to almost international when we're allowed to travel.
Yeah, I don't think these type of virtual events are going to come to an end. I really think that some people are going to gravitate towards them, and because you can do things with them that it's a lot more difficult in a restaurant scenario to do presentations sometimes and things like that, the slides and things that some restaurants can accommodate it, but a lot of them can't. So platforms like this, like Zoom, you can accommodate things like that. So I think there is a future for. I don't know if it'll be the same number of virtual events, but I think there definitely is a future for virtual events and a future for collaboration for small businesses. Like the
Mhm.
collaboration, I couldn't have done what I did without the collaboration of Battery Trattoria and Eleanor Daft and Vision Travel. I just couldn't. It's not, if anything good comes out of COVID, it's something like that. I think a lot of the small businesses have linked up and said, how can we do things together to make it better? How can we make ourselves better by working together? And I think those two collaborators made it better. Like I couldn't have done it by myself without them.
Well, that's really you know what, it's really true. And, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to feature people like yourself. So on a community platform where people can come and take a look at things that are going on and get introduced to people like yourself. So hopefully people that might not have seen you before have the opportunity to see you now and learn a little bit more about you. And of course, we will have all your contact information, all your links, all the ways to service and get in touch with you. But is there a specific way of getting in touch with you you'd like to share right now so that people hear it?
Uh, I think the way most people get in touch with me now, it's changed so much over the years, even in the 3 years that I've been in business. I would say initially it would have been email. Now I'd say it's social media. I get more reach outs on Instagram and my Facebook page for Wine Journeys than any other way. And I get messages through them now too. I don't get emails. I get messages through Instagram and Facebook. Far more than I get emails. Far more than I get emails. So it's been an interesting thing to watch transition as my following grows on Instagram and Facebook. That's becoming the primary sort of means of communication about what I do, it seems. So if people want to see what I'm doing day to day, I say hook up with my Instagram or my Facebook page for Wine Journeys, and you'll see what I'm up to.
Perfect. So I'll make sure that those are on here for you so that people can do just that. They can just click right away onto your Facebook link and check out Wine Journeys. So is there anything that I've missed asking you that you wanted to make sure people know about you, your business, or anything significant that is important that I might have forgotten?
I just want to reemphasize that it's not business. My business is the love of wine and sharing that love of wine so people can buy better wine. It's not the snob appeal. If that's what you're after, you're probably not going to enjoy my events very much. It's all about interaction and having some fun and learning a little bit in the process and buying better wine because of that. But like I say, if they want the snow appeal, they'll probably have to go somewhere else. I'm not that person.
You're not that person. No,
I'm
you're
not
not.
that
I've
person.
met you. You're not that person at all. Actually, it was a little surprising when, because I won't say have, I had that, um, I guess, persona of what wine tasting was about and, or belief of what it was. And then I met you and I'm like, really? Wine? You're so laid back. You're such an easygoing guy. And
Well, it's what I tell people at events is that if it isn't fun, I wouldn't want to be here. So why shouldn't we have some fun and talk and interact and ask questions and laugh and like I say, it's not wine and food isn't supposed to be a somber experience. It's supposed to be fun.
well, you've certainly brought the fun to the table and the knowledge, which is amazing. And what a brilliant idea for a business. And I just want to thank you for taking your time today to be able to share that information. And I'm looking forward to seeing the growth this year and all the changes that come about. And maybe we'll circle back in a few months and see how business is going, if you're mostly on Zoom or if maybe we're actually able to smell the wine together.
Yeah, maybe this summer we can be out on the patio. I'm hopeful.
Oh, that would be great, wouldn't it? Well, thank you, Trent, so much. This is Wine Journeys, and I'm Heather Hansen with uh, Rock Capital and Rate Deal Mortgages. And I love the opportunity to help service all of our small businesses in all of Barrie. And I will be back with another wonderful owner probably tomorrow.
Thank you, Heather.